Hello, friends! We wanted to let you know that we have arrived safely.
Yep.
And boy,
wow, it was incredible. Moving, well,
Yes.
it's always moving, but we had beautiful weather, we had safe travels, and we were greeted very warmly. We were super warmly welcomed by an amazing community of like-minded people here.
yeah, it really feels like kindred spirits down here. So many people concerned about where their food comes from, and so many organic farms. I mean, okay, so we went to Hawaii thinking we would do this 100% project, and
And here's our plan, and it went bump.
crash. Right.
There.
Now, here, suddenly,
Here, we're not even trying in a shelter's building. I mean, our meal tonight
was all local,
I would say
basically,
it's,
except for the
I would
olive.
say it's probably 97.
Yeah, a little bit still here, a little red pepper.
I bet it's probably 97.
97% probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not the olive oil and
Not
the
the
sea
lemon
salt and the lemon.
and the sausages.
In local,
Well, they were local
They
too.
weren't. Well, they were local as in Minnesota, but
that's true.
they weren't within 50
Well,
miles.
local, we should tell them what does local mean.
Right now, most of our food, at least all the vegetables and the eggs, local means
Next door.
just right over the hill. So the only transport it has
Oh, not
is-
5 days and over the hill, just right over there.
is us on foot, just hauling our hand cart behind us.
Yep.
And
Walk over the hill and pick up our box, and
wow.
then we harvest some wild food on the way home.
Yeah.
So part of our mission here is going to be to start to share some of the wild foods that we're eating, because there's a lot of wild foods that are available, and to talk about now next season. I think we're going to be involved in gardening and hopefully be getting some permaculture and stuff, and so that we might be making videos about.
Yeah.
And I think our homesteadingness is going to get to come out here in a new way.
I like to think of it as wild studying. We just stopped on the side of the road today with a friend of ours who had happened to notice on her way home some black cherry trees that were laden, and we got to taste some early wild plums. And I am so excited to grab some of those black cherries and harvest them and turn them into fruit leather.
Yeah, the like cherry tree down over there too.
Down the
that
woods.
So
way.
I think
Yeah.
of it as a little bit of homesteading, a little bit of wild studying. So we would definitely want to share. And there's so much more. There's places for us to explore that we haven't taken you along with yet. And a lot just that we're learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with that in mind, make this a shorter video, but just one thing that everybody has learned, if you want to share, that might be of value to our friends out there.
Well, I didn't exactly learn this only when we were coming down. When we were in Hawaii, I kind of learned this too. But it's very important that before you go and help people a lot and just do a lot of work for other people, you want to make sure that you have made a base in yourself that you're able to help other people.
Nice.
That's a mistake we've made in our life before, I think, is depleting ourselves, trying to help others. So
When
far,
what we need to do is help ourselves, and then we can help others.
that's one of the really important lessons, I think, that we've had to learn in our life, is if we can fill our bucket, we have more to share with others. And we don't operate best and have trouble sharing if we're down completely depleted. So this feels like a place thus far that is really nurturing us.
Totally.
Hopefully you'll see that come through in us and what we have to share.
Yeah. So it's really nice to have an open sky place.
Ah,
So
yeah.
you can see the stars. And
Yeah.
just the sky itself. I'm so happy for the open sky.
What did you do the first night we were here, Liliana?
Looked at the stars.
Looked at the stars.
And looked up at the sky.
And then the sunrise.
Yes.
Right? So there's an organic cornfield, and over that we see the sunrise, and then there's the valleys and the forest beyond it.
It's
In the-
beautiful.
Though we all love the Northwoods, for sure, it was a cathedral of huge trees.
Right,
So
here
the
we
sky
are.
was a small dot up above us. And here, the sky
It's
is
like-
wide open.
If you go up
Do
on
you
the
have
hill here,
something?
you can look all around
Oh
and
yeah,
you'll see
you
the
can
sky.
see it everywhere.
It's really awesome.
Do you have a lesson to learn, Sarah?
Oh,
Or
let's
a lesson
see.
to learn? Probably a lot of lessons to learn.
Yeah, there's a lot happening here and a lot kind of processing through my mind as we start. I mean, we've only been here, this is our second night,
This will be
third
third,
night
yeah.
coming up.
It's good to have friends.
It's good to have
Oh,
friends.
yeah.
Yeah, you girls have been playing with those neighbor girls every day. And I think that's something that was really missing for us up north is we were so busy with the Forest Monk program
And
That-
more friends.
that we never really outreached to form bonds within the community.
Yeah, there's even more friends than there's 2 other girls who live just down the road too.
Right. I
Yeah,
mean, we
exactly.
have a more of a base of community and friends down here in 2 days than we did in years up there. And so that is really, really positive. We're seeing the power of community. And, you know, as for me, as we eat this food, as we experience this community, it makes me feel like, how can we, I'm always thinking like this, how can we gift this to other people? How could other people experience farm fresh food? Because we all know there are people in some places that, well, don't have much food at all, but even here in the United States, there are people in the cities who maybe have never tasted food that doesn't come wrapped in plastic. And so are there ways, like our friend Garrett, who was taking, during COVID here, was involved in an organic farm. He's a former forest monk, Garrett. If you're watching, thank you for the things you were doing here. He was taking food from that farm into the inner city and giving food, this beautiful farm fresh organic food, to people who just did not have access to that kind of sustenance in their lives. So I find myself wondering how we can do that more, how we can help other people to learn to grow their own food, or
Unless they're in the city. Sometimes
Even in
you
this-
don't have some places.
you know what, you're right. I was going to say, in the city, even there, it's possible to grow our own food, and there's some people doing some remarkable work with guerrilla gardening.
What's a gorilla?
Guerrilla is, so not gorilla like an ape, but guerrilla like guerrilla warfare, where you're sneaking around.
What's a gorilla
so-
warfare?
That's a style of warfare that isn't.
What's a warfare?
I'm glad you're asking what war is. Okay, is people fighting,
I see.
lots and lots of people fighting, and when they two sides, like you see in movies, everybody fighting together. But guerrilla warfare is when people are sneaking through the woods and using unconventional tactics. So people are actively doing this in cities. So let's say there's an old lot, and then they're sneaking in and gardening there and making these community gardens all over in places. So this is being done, but you're right. There's some places in the city where it is just, it's not realistic that anybody's going to be able to create a garden there. Yeah. So,
it requires some creative thinking.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe societal restructure at some point.
And we said we weren't going to talk on and on. Well, here's one of the things I've learned, and then I have a question. What I've learned is that there are beautiful places everywhere, all over the planet. And sometimes they're beautiful because they're just naturally beautiful, and that's one level. And sometimes they're beautiful because of what we experience there, and that's another level. And sometimes they're beautiful because of who or what we share that place or experience with.
I want to say something.
Yeah?
Okay. So we have our Nana she lives in the city. She has a lot of land that she can walk on. Forest.
So, okay, so there's also places in the city, like where your Nana, grandmother, lives, where she's adjacent to a park, and she has
And
forest that she can go out to, and she actually forages.
yeah,
out
and
there.
she has, and her husband has a tomato garden. Well, just a garden.
Yes, he has a garden. So you can be in the city and you still can find places to garden and forage. Yeah,
Here's
at least
my
in some
question.
parts.
Here's
Okay,
my
your question.
And then we should tend to bedtime.
Yeah.
My question to you is, I want to hear the same thing. What is one thing that you've learned from where you are living now? What's just a life lesson that you gathered from whatever space you've been in for, let's say, the last 6 months of your life? What's something that you've learned, a way that you've been impacted by where and how you're living? So I'd really love to hear that from all of you.
All right, my friends. Thank you much.
Thank you so much.
Stay
Love
tuned.
to all.
There's more to come.
Yes.
And give us a little bit of time still. We're still settling in.
Yeah,
But there's so much we want to share with you, and we're so grateful.
Love you so much.
All right.
Thank you.